You already know what to do with money. That's not the problem. You've read the articles. You've watched the videos. You know you should save, invest, stop spending on things that don't matter. You know all of it. And yet, something keeps pulling you back to where you started. Not because you're lazy. Not because you don't care. But because nobody ever told you the real reason most people stay broke their entire lives. It has nothing to do with income. Nothing to do with opportunity. It has everything to do with something happening right now, inside your head, that you probably can't even see. The rich don't just have more money. They think differently. And I don't mean that in some vague, motivational poster way. I mean there are specific, documented psychological patterns that wealthy people use, almost automatically, that most people will never develop. Not because they can't. Because nobody showed them how. That changes today. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Think about the last time you got a little extra money. A bonus. A freelance payment. A birthday gift. Whatever it was. What was your first instinct? Not what you did, what you felt like doing. If you're honest with yourself, there was probably a pull. Spend it. Treat yourself. You earned it, right? And that feeling, that pull, is not a character flaw. It's not weakness. It's a pattern. A deeply wired psychological response that was built inside you long before you ever had a bank account. Psychologists call it mental accounting. The way your brain doesn't really see money as money. It sees money as meaning. And depending on how that money arrived, your brain already decided what it's for before you even touched it. Extra money feels like extra money. Not real money. Not serious money. And so it gets treated differently. Now here's what's interesting. Wealthy people experience the same impulse. The difference is they've trained themselves to pause before that impulse becomes a decision. Not through discipline, exactly. Through something quieter than that. They've learned to watch the thought without becoming it. That sounds simple. And it is. But simple is not the same as easy. Because that pause, that fraction of a second between feeling and action, is where financial futures are actually built or destroyed. Most people never find that pause. They live entirely inside the impulse. And the impulse, almost always, costs them. There's a concept in psychology called delayed gratification. You've probably heard of it. Most people have. But here's what most people get wrong about it. They think it's about willpower. About gritting your teeth and saying no. About being the kind of person who doesn't enjoy life now so they can maybe enjoy it later. That's not what it is. That's actually the wrong frame entirely, and that wrong frame is exactly why most people fail at it. Wealthy people don't delay gratification because they're disciplined. They delay it because they genuinely want something else more. Not abstractly. Not theoretically. They want it more in the present moment, right now, sitting with that impulse. That's a completely different psychological state. Think about it this way. Imagine you're hungry and someone offers you a gas station sandwich or tells you there's an incredible meal waiting for you 20 minutes away. You don't need willpower to skip the sandwich. You just don't want it anymore. The better option is real to you. That's the mechanism. And the wealthy have trained their minds to make the future real. Not distant. Not abstract. Real. Present. Almost tangible. When a wealthy person looks at an unnecessary purchase, they don't see just the price tag. Their brain automatically translates it. $300 isn't $300. It's $300 compounding over 10 years. It's an asset. It's options. It's future freedom sitting right there in their hand. Most people can't make that translation. Not because they're not smart enough. Because they've never practiced it. The mind sees what it's been trained to see. Nothing more, nothing less. And the terrifying part? That training happens whether you choose it or not. Here's something nobody talks about at the dinner table. The environment you grew up in didn't just shape your values. It shaped your financial reflexes. The things your parents said about money. The things they didn't say. The way they reacted when a bill arrived. The way they talked about rich people. The way they talked about themselves. All of it went in. Quietly. Without your permission. Psychologists call it financial socialization. And it's arguably the most powerful force determining your relationship with money today. More powerful than your salary. More powerful than your education. Because it operates underneath everything. It's the operating system running in the background while you think you're making rational decisions. When someone who grew up in scarcity suddenly earns real money, something strange often happens. Instead of building, they spend. Not because they're irresponsible. Because deep in the wiring, there's a voice that doesn't trust it to last. Spend it now before it disappears. Before someone takes it. Before something goes wrong. That voice was built for survival once. In a different context, it made sense. But it doesn't know that context has changed. It never got the update. And this is where most financial advice completely fails people. It tells you what to do with money without ever addressing what money means to you. Without asking where that meaning came from. Without acknowledging that two people can read the exact same book about investing and walk away and do completely opposite things with that knowledge. Because the behavior was never really about the knowledge. It was always about the story running underneath. The rich didn't just learn different strategies. At some point, consciously or not, they rewrote the story. They looked at what money meant to them and decided that meaning no longer served them. And they replaced it with something that did. That rewrite is available to anyone. But first you have to see the story you're already living inside. So how do you actually see it? That's always the question nobody answers. They tell you the story exists. They tell you it's holding you back. And then they leave you standing there wondering how to find something that's been invisible your entire life. Here's how. Pay attention to where money makes you feel small. Not stressed. Not worried. Small. Like you don't deserve it. Like it belongs to other kinds of people. Like there's a version of financial success that exists for everyone else and something, you're not even sure what, quietly disqualifies you from it. That feeling. That specific feeling. That's the story showing itself. Most people feel it and immediately look away. They change the subject in their own head. They call themselves realistic. They say they're just being practical. But what they're actually doing is protecting a belief they never chose and never examined. Wealthy people have a different relationship with that feeling. Not because they don't feel it, many of them do. But they've learned to get curious about it instead of retreating from it. They ask why. Not in a therapy session way. In a quiet, honest, almost ruthless way. Why does this make me uncomfortable? What am I actually afraid of here? What would have to be true for me to feel like I deserve this? That last question is the important one. Because underneath almost every self-sabotaging financial decision, underneath the impulsive spending and the procrastinated investments and the opportunities left untouched, there's a person who doesn't fully believe they're supposed to have more. Who hasn't answered the question of whether they're allowed to want it. And until that question gets answered, every strategy in the world is just rearranging furniture in a house with a broken foundation. The rich didn't just build wealth. They decided they were allowed to. That decision came first. Everything else followed. There's one more layer to this. And it might be the most important one. Wealthy people think in systems. Most people think in events. When something goes wrong financially for the average person, it feels like a verdict. A failed investment isn't a data point. It's proof of something. Proof that they shouldn't have tried. Proof that this world wasn't built for them. Proof that the cautious voice was right all along. And so they stop. Or they never start again with the same openness. They carry that event forward like a scar that explains everything. Wealthy people lose money too. Some of them lose extraordinary amounts. But somewhere in the way they process it, the loss doesn't become identity. It becomes information. What went wrong? What can I adjust? What does this tell me about the next decision? That's not coldness. That's not emotional detachment. It's actually a form of deep self-respect. the refusal to let one moment define the entire arc. Psychologists who study high net worth individuals consistently find one pattern that separates them from everyone else. Not intelligence. Not risk tolerance. Not even work ethic. It's what they call attribution style. The way a person explains events to themselves. People who build lasting wealth tend to attribute failures to specific, temporary, external circumstances. And they attribute successes to repeatable, internal patterns. In other words, when something goes wrong, it's a specific problem to be solved. When something goes right, it's because of something they did that they can do again. The opposite pattern is devastatingly common. Failures feel permanent and personal. Successes feel like luck. Like accidents. Like things that happen to them rather than things they created. You can see how that second pattern quietly destroys financial momentum over a lifetime. Every setback confirms the story. Every success gets dismissed. Nothing accumulates. Not the money. Not the confidence. Not the belief that the next attempt is worth making. Changing that attribution style is not about positive thinking. It's about honest, specific thinking. About looking at what actually happened and refusing to let your ego or your fear write the explanation. That's a skill. It's learnable. And it might be the closest thing to a real psychological edge that exists in personal finance. If you've made it this far into the video with me, I want to take 1 second to say something real. Subscribe to this channel. Not because of an algorithm. Not because it helps me. Because if this conversation is resonating with you, there's more where this came from. Every day. And the people who show up consistently are the ones who actually change something. So hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, and let's keep doing this together. And honestly, if you're still here, you're already different from most people. Most people click away in the first minute. You stayed. That tells me something about you. Now let's finish this. Because here's what all of this has been building toward. The patterns, the attribution style, the stories, the pause before the impulse, none of it matters in isolation. What matters is that they form something together. A way of moving through the world. A posture toward money, toward risk, toward your own potential, that becomes so natural you stop noticing it. That's what the rich have that looks like luck from the outside. It's not luck. It's accumulated psychology. Thousands of small moments where they chose the harder thought. Where they got curious instead of defensive. Where they refused to let a feeling make a permanent decision. And here's the thing about accumulated psychology, it compounds. Just like money does. Slowly at first. Almost invisibly. And then suddenly in ways that seem impossible to explain from the outside. You've been building something in this conversation. Whether you feel it yet or not. I want to leave you with something that took me a long time to understand. The gap between where you are and where you want to be financially is not a money gap. It never was. It's a perception gap. The distance between how you currently see yourself and what you're actually capable of becoming. And perception changes quietly. Not in one dramatic moment. Not after one video, one book, one breakthrough conversation. It changes in the small decisions nobody sees. The pause before the impulse. The honest question you ask yourself at 2 in the morning. The moment you catch the old story running and choose not to follow it. Those moments don't feel like much. That's exactly why most people underestimate them. The mind you were given was shaped by everything that happened before you knew you had a choice. But you have a choice now. You've always had it. You just needed to see clearly enough to use it. Wealthy people aren't a different species. They're people who decided, at some point, in some quiet moment, that the story they inherited wasn't the story they were going to finish with. That decision is yours to make. Not tomorrow. Not when things are more stable. Not when you feel ready. Now. If this video made you think differently about something, share it with 5 people who need to hear it. Not the ones who already have everything figured out. The ones still in the middle of figuring it out. That's who this was made for. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every day. And leave me a comment tell me honestly, what part of this hit you hardest? And tell me what you want me to go deep on next. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.